Network.
Welcome back to Inside the NFL, presented by Farmers Insurance.
You know what? I'm not cheering about this at all. The fact the fans are booing Alex Smith in Kansas City as the Chiefs' slump continues. They started the season 5-0, as we well recall, and they're not alone in staring down the barrel of high expectations coming up short. So with the last month of the season upon us, we invoke the words of the immortal Elvis Presley. Is it now or never? Let's start talking about Kansas City. Is it now or never? What in the world is happening with them?
Phil, what's that for Kansas City?
Man, it's now or never, so this is going to be rough. And you're looking at a football team that I think has a lot of problems, and you hear so much about Alex Smith. And why do you hear about Alex Smith? I think most of it is the fact that they know once this year's over, they got to change their football team. And if you're going to change your football team, you're going to start with a quarterback or at least bring him in, don't you think?
Yeah.
But, you know, they can't stop the run. The defense, they play a lot of man-to-man defense. They don't cover well. They got Marcus Peters. And, you know, to me, it always comes down to this. You know, the league is about being tough, and I'm not calling them not tough, but you get tough by doing what? Running the football. What does that do to your defense? It makes them better at stopping the run, and I think that capsulizes their season so far.
I think a little bit of a finesse team on offense that was really out of the gate.
You guys don't like the word finesse.
No, we don't, but they were great out of the gate, and then all of a sudden the bubble screens and the shovel passes and all that stuff, other teams start catching up to that, and they start looking for it in particular spots. You know,
Yeah, you know, Boone said it. You know, you think about all these bubble screens, these gadgets, they don't have a system. You need a system. Hunt needs to touch the ball 25 times. How do I make sure Kelsey gets at least 12 to 13 catches? Kansas City don't have that. And so what does that do? That takes their defense and it exposes their defense every time they do this. And this is what
I agree with it real quickly. I will say, unfortunately, the perception of Alex Smith is that he's a game manager. He's got 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and he's 69% completion. That's ridiculous. Almost 3,000 yards.
Right.
Problem is he's not creating big plays now down the field. And that goes back to last year's Pittsburgh playoff game, and that's why they drafted Patrick Mahomes. Now, as far as the Raiders are concerned, undisciplined. You know, not out of character because that's in their DNA. That's their history out there. I'm really disappointed by this team. I'm disappointed by Michael Crabtree's actions on the field. I'm disappointed by Derek Carr's play on the field. I'm disappointed that he got hurt this year. I'm disappointed that they fired Ken Norton Jr. I mean, I thought I saw a better defense this week with Pagano calling the plays because he actually got a turnover. They actually got an interception in a game, which was unbelievable that they hadn't had one until this past week. But this is a team that is too undisciplined, I think, to make a run.
You have too many guys, superstar guys, definitely on the defensive side, that don't even think about playing together. I mean, when you watch the Oakland Raiders play,
how do you see that? What
Jack Del Rio coached me my first Super Bowl as a linebacker coach. Right. So I know the technical things that he actually asks for. And when I'm watching this Oakland Raiders team play, there's nothing technical happening in football. Wow. And that to me saying this cannot be a Jack Del Rio ran defense.
Oh, both coordinators that were on that team last year that led them to all those victories and helped them do it, they're both gone. So that really bothers me there. And it goes back to this. They're the highest paid offensive line in the NFL. Run the ball, make them, you know, do that. Now you can throw the football down the field. They haven't done that.
Washington, Seattle, no
love both of their quarterbacks. The problem is that there are too many good teams above them, and I can't see either one of those teams really going on the road in Philadelphia or in New Orleans or Atlanta or Carolina. You know, you take a look at, or Minnesota for that matter, that they can jump over.
Yeah, every team goes through us, whether it's sooner or later. The injury bug has hit both of these teams, Seattle especially, and I just don't see them bouncing.
Well, let me say this about Seattle. This offseason, let's quit drafting everybody to play on defense. Let's get Russell Wilson, by the way, who's the best player on their football team, and let's make it about him. Let's see if they can do that. And for the Washington Redskins, every team gets hit with the injury bug. Theirs is unbelievable. If they would have stayed somewhat healthy, we would be talking about them, I think, as one of the best teams in the NFL.
All right, there you have it, folks. Up next is the AFC West rivalry that made headlines for all the wrong reasons this week. When we touched about it, it is Denver at Oakland.